Welcome to today's burst of innovation. I hope the weekend treated you very well and that you are ready to work smarter, not harder this week, drive some innovation, some influence, and really move the needle forward. As I keep mentioning in our tribe and other places, this is the time to really think about how to end the year strong, particularly 2020 and everything that it's been. Oftentimes we get to this part of the year and people think, oh, whatever the results are, what the results are, whatever what we've got is what we've got. We're going into the holidays. It's almost like people kind of, I don't want to say give up, but they go into that mindset. We are not going to do that. We are going to keep going strong because 3 months, you can get an unbelievable amount done. And even more importantly, set yourself up to have a success next year for stronger, more innovative 2021. Okay, so with that, this week's burst of innovation this Monday, I get a lot of questions around questions. And actually, I should say that differently. I get a lot of people sharing frustrations with me around things, the answers that they get. And when we really think about it and we really talk about it, the challenge isn't the answers. The challenge actually is the questions. So what I want to do today is share with you, and for some of you that's heard this, remind you of a super simple exercise that you can do, to change your questions so that you can change your answers. Because here's what often happens. So we have a challenge we're trying to solve, or an opportunity we're trying to go after, or just something we're trying to figure out. So what do? We ask a question, a singular question that we hope opens the floor for ourselves and our teams and our clients, opens the floor for innovation, for solutions, for ideas. And ultimately, what ends up happening and where we get frustrated is we end up in one narrow lane of thinking. And that one little narrow lane of thinking only gives us one little narrow lane of answers, of solutions, of ideas. So what we want to do is change our questions so that we can open up those lanes of thinking and get a broader range of ideas. You've heard me say this before, quantity leads to quality. And I think oftentimes the reasons the incremental, not so great ideas get moved forward isn't because people actually love them. It's actually because we don't have options, because we've asked one question, gotten to one narrow lane of thinking, only gotten to one or two answers in that lane. They're usually about the same, and it's crowded and it's incremental and it's not what you're looking for. How many of you have had that experience where you've kind of, pushed yourself or even your team to be innovative, to solve something, to figure something out, and unfortunately, all you get back is the obvious, the incremental, or kind of one way of thinking about it? So that's what we're going to solve today, because I know it's frustrating. And I like to kind of think of it like hiking a little bit. So I live in Colorado and we do a lot of hiking here. And what I have, to no surprise, found is the hiking trail I start with always ends at the same vista point. So where I start is almost always where I end. There's very few paths off that mountainside that I've gone. Now, I'm not saying that's bad in hiking, but what I am saying is that when you think about that in relation to the problems you're trying to solve, if you start from the same starting point every time, of course, you're going to get to the same end point. If you start from the same question, you're going to get to the same answers every time. So not only are you getting one lane in your thinking, but more than likely, you're getting it over and over and over again. So here's what we do. We're going to do something called word games. And this is one of my favorite exercises to do to get a broader range of thinking and actually drive innovation. Because I think the trap we fall into, or maybe the challenge, is that you hear me and you go, okay, Tamara, so that's great. So we need to change our questions to change our answers. Got it. Makes sense. We've all heard that before. Am I right? That's not new. But then this comes up in our heads. Well, that's great, Tamara, but what am I supposed to ask? So I've got this question I've been asking and that's not working for me. So what exactly am I supposed to ask? You are not alone in that, by the way. I am in no way judging you, because I suffer from that too. And then what do we end up doing? We end up asking the same question in the same way, but louder, in maybe a slightly different way, but not really kind of the same. Wait, here says, or worse, we're the ones stopping with a one answer instead of continuing to ask. Yeah, well, we should do a whole nother burst of innovation around spending more time in the problem. I totally agree with you, and spending more time in the problem and not jumping to solution too soon. it's human nature for us to want to jump to solution. So when we get something, anything, we're like, done, got it. But usually that's not actually the best solution for us. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so here's the thing for the questions. We're gonna play something called word games. I'm gonna go lightning fast here because we only have a couple minutes. But if you have my book, it's on, oh gosh, what page is it on? Hold on. There's so much in here that I have to find it. Page 243, there's a whole thing on how to do this exercise. And if you're in the tribe, we're actually going to do this on the next Innovation Jam session. I think that's on Wednesday, because I want us to go back into this and apply it to the challenges we're facing now. Okay, so here's what we do. We have our starting question, problem that we're trying to solve. I have written one down for us to work with. If you have one that you are willing to put out, a succinct question or challenge that you want us to play with right now, I will happily do that. So, but I've started one just to give you an idea. This is the one actually that I was in a session with the other day with a client, with a team doing something. And this is where we started. Woo, let me get it in there. What would it take to develop a new customer group? So they've got these products, they've got these services, they want to develop a new customer group to go after to open up new revenue streams. They think there's a market out there that isn't tapped into yet. So this is a question we started with, right? So oftentimes that's what we do. We start with one question. Now to go back to my challenge, my trap, we ask this question over and over and over and over and over again. As you can imagine, that takes us down the same lines of thinking. In fact, just for a moment right now, if you're thinking about how to answer this, what would you do to develop a new customer group? I'm guessing you're kind of mulling over the same 2 or 3 ideas at this point, which is fine. That's great. And notice this word in the middle is in a box. There's a reason for that, if this is new for you. Here's how word games works. If you want to open up and actually get to different questions, all you have to do is change one word in that question, one word in that challenge. And in fact, if you have some words that you'd like to play with, put them in the comment section and I'll actually write them down and we'll see how it works. So let me give you an example. So we were playing with this. What do we do to develop? Well, when we thought about developing a customer group, it took us down the path of finding customers who are in that realm and then kind of teaching them why they need the product, right? Because we have to develop them. That's what that word led us to. So we did that. We had a whole easel pad of ideas on there, actually a virtual easel pad. Then I played some word games with them. And I changed that one question, develop, to secure. So what would it take to secure a new customer group? Now, interestingly, that word secure opened up a whole new range of thinking that went over to maybe targeting those who are working with the competition, or maybe have just let go of the competition. But secure to them took them to the customers are there, they're already working with somebody else, and we've got to secure them back over to us. Isn't that interesting? One word changed the entire conversation. So we went from what would it take to develop a new customer group, which led us down one path, to what would it take to secure a new customer group, which took us down a whole different path. Here, I got one more for you. And then here's what I want you to do is I'm sharing this last one. I want you to put in the comment section, what is a word or words that you would use to change this up, to get it to a whole new place, to play word games with it, to open up innovation. So this was the other one we created. What would it take to create a new customer group? Now this one took us down ideas around education and learning curves, because to create the group meant, well, they don't exist right now. So maybe it's our actual customers, but they don't know they need this add-on. So how do we create that in them? How do we create that need in the marketplace? So as you can see, right, develop, secure, and create. One word made all the difference. So this one simple activity, one word, to change everything. Here's what happens. We go from one lane, right? Here's my one lane. I ask one question. I'm at that same starting point. And now I've got this one lane of thinking to I'm adding this lane here, and I'm adding this lane here, and I'm adding this lane here. And suddenly that aperture, if I've got my photography words right, has opened up and you have a whole range of ideas. Then you can pick the actual ones that you want to move forward with. And what I find in doing this exercise is sometimes it's a couple from this area, sometimes it's a couple from that area. Here's the caution actually I want to give you. This is not about finding the one right end all be all question. It is about asking multiple questions to get to multiple places, multiple ways to innovate, and then to figure out what's going to move you forward. Oh, I like that one. Integrate. So here, let me write it down. Let's play with it for a second. What would it take to, love that, integrate. What would it take to integrate a new customer group? Wow, so that's cool because that takes me to places around how do I give them the best practices of the customers I already have? How do I integrate them into the community that we've built with our customers? How do I integrate what they do with what we do? Okay, I get all excited about this because it's such a simple exercise that provides such incredibly powerful results. You change one word and you get whole new questions. Oh, I got another one come in. Evolve. All right, let's play with it. Let's see what happens. I need more paper. I like evolve. That's good. Ooh, so where does that take you? What would it take to evolve a new customer group? Isn't that interesting too? Oh my God, integrate, evolve, so good. Yeah, so evolve takes me to more like, maybe they're here with my products and I get them one more place and one more place and one more place. It actually takes me to customers I already have, or even turning customers into advocates to get new customers as well. Some kind of referral program. Yeah, I love that word. Good. Okay. So you see how this goes. So here's what I want you to do. Here's my homework for you is I want you to take something that you're working on, whatever challenge, find a way to write the question down concisely. It's important to be concise, and then change up the words. And oh, by the way, so I like to change up the verb in there, right? Evolve, integrate, all those. You could change customer group to partnerships, to advocates, to allies. So let's try that really quickly and see what I have it written on. And I'll show you. What would it take to create a partnership group, right? What would it take to create a partnership group, right? So now partners are different than customers. You treat them differently. Oh, I got a new one. What would it take to transform? Yeah. Come on. Yeah, so good. So like, what would it take to transform a new customer group? Now, for me, now it might take you to a whole different place, which is awesome. For me, transform takes me to, well, do I take customers I have and transform them into the customer of this part? Or is transformation all about customer relationships with new customers that we don't have, the ones that we want in this new group? Maybe to transform is to get them to switch from one thing to another. That's where my mind goes. Your mind could go a whole different place, and that is great. But what I want you to really think about for this week moving forward, because I really strongly believe, as I said in the beginning, is we have an incredible opportunity in the last 3 months of the year to really crush it. And I don't mean that is in ignore everything that's going on in the world and all the ups and downs. And if you're in the US, we're also in the throes of a major political event. So all of it kind of comes together, but we can innovate our way through it and even thrive through it as well. And that I absolutely know to be true. And one of the things I think that helps us do that is actually to figure out new questions to ask so that we're not spinning on the same hamster wheel, that we're actually asking new questions. In fact, I wrote down, oh, my sticky note fell. I wrote down on a sticky note, said, what can I do to transform the rest of 2020? And then I'm going to put on another sticky note. What can I do? I'm going to start playing with this to integrate, to develop, to create 2020. It's a great question. Let's see. Oh, wait, for something. What would it take to grow a new partnership group? Yeah, and grow. Isn't that interesting? The word grow takes you to more nurture, right? To like set the seeds with them, to maybe it's just because it's a planting analogy. I don't know. But to me, that really is about more of a long-term ideas come out of that too, of like, okay, what do I do to really love on them? For, it's funny actually that you write that, because I just wrote that about what do I do to really, I didn't use the word nurture. God, what word did I use? I can't remember what word I used, but it was something in that lines with my current members in the tribe. What do I do to love on them? I love the word nurture though. I'm not sure I use that word. I think I will. Yeah. So, okay. This is so good. So you guys have some great starting points there. If you don't have the book already, 243, I think I have a whole list of words you can use in here too. Do I? No, I don't in the book. I have it how you use the word. If you're in the tribe, in the toolkit, there's this exercise as one of the videos, and I believe it has a whole list of words to get you going. Ignite, nurture, grow, spark, disrupt, transform. get rid of, minimize. Like you can play with it. For the black diamonds in the group, you can play with it both ways. It doesn't have to be always positive. You can play with, what do I do to minimize? What do I do to stop, right? There's reasons for that language too. So, okay, there you go. There's your 10-ish minutes burst of innovation, all about this one simple exercise called word games to open up new ideas. Remember, if we start in the same place, we're going to end at the same place. Just like walking down the street. You start at this end of the block, you're going to end up at that end of the block. So we want to add new paths to go down so that we can widen that lens. I love this too, because I love to, even if you're just in conversation, I love to just switch up the words and ask people different things. So if our conversation's always like, hey, how's your day going? I might change it up and be like, hey, what'd your day evolve into? Which is a whole different answer than how's your day going? So play with this, play with the language. And again, my big advice to everybody is this is not about finding the right question. This is about asking all the questions and opening up new paths. And you may find that one takes you down to the solution you're looking for, but you won't know that in the beginning. It's very hard to know. You got to play with it and you got to do it. Wait, another one. What would it take to trust a new partnership group? So isn't that cool? So that takes you to a whole new place too. What would it take to trust a new partnership group? Well, trust is all about, well, for me, transparency and collaboration and communication. And those are whole different ideas, right? Than even transform or evolve or integrate or create. All right, you guys are awesome. All right, thank you, thank you. No 10-minute burst of innovation on Wednesday because the Everyday Innovators Tribe is doing the an innovation jam session. So just a reminder for all of us, if you're not in the tribe, you won't see me on Wednesday. You'll see me next Monday. If you're in the tribe, you will see me Wednesday because we'll be doing a jam session. And we're going to dig into this exercise and a couple others, obviously, as well, because I think this is one that's important to revisit. And I think some of our challenges have evolved since we first got together for those who've been in for a little while. And for the new ones coming in, what a great way to start. So, okay. I will see the tribe members on Wednesday, and I will see the rest of you all over and on Monday. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you were here. Good. Okay. Let me find the end of the broadcast. Good to see you all. Thank you. Thank you. In fact, I should ask a different question at the end. I should start asking, instead of what insight did you get out of this? I should ask, what are you going to do? Or instead of insight, what value did you get out of this? What idea did you get out of this? Now I'm just over here innovating with myself. Okay. Now I'll end, I promise. You're welcome, Carolyn.